Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly horoscope for April 27th to May 3rd, 2026. My name's Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. Sagittarius, this week is subtle but powerful. It's not about what's loud and visible, it's about what's happening behind the scenes in your inner world, your relationships, and your daily life. This is a week of emotional processing, quiet realizations, and necessary recalibration. Because before you can move forward in the way you want to, you have to clear what's been building underneath the surface. On April 28th, we have Venus in Gemini forming a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. This is activating your seventh house of relationships and partnerships and your third house of communication, mindset, and daily interactions. This is powerful alignment between your voice and your connections. This is deep, meaningful conversations. This is you connecting with someone in a way that feels transformative, whether that's a partner, a friend, or even a new connection that shifts your perspective. Communication can feel magnetic, revealing, and impactful. This is where your relationships deepen through honesty. But you do have to be careful of power dynamics in communication. Over analyzing what's being said or even trying to control the outcome of a conversation. You don't need to control the conversation, but you do need to be present within it because truth will naturally reveal itself when you allow space for it. Then we get to April 29th and we have Venus and Gemini forming a T-square to the lunar nodes. And you have the South node in your 10th house of career, reputation, and public image, and the North node in your 4th house of home, family, and emotional foundation. This is actually a karmic crossroads between your external success and your internal stability. This is you recognizing where you may have been over focused on your career, your image, or how you're perceived at the expense of your emotional well being or personal life. And the North Node is asking you to come home, to connect with your foundation, to prioritize your emotional needs, to build a life that feels secure, not just looks successful. You do have to be careful of avoiding emotional work by staying busy, defining your worth through external achievements. You need to ask yourself, does this path actually feel like home or just look like success? Because true fulfillment requires both. Then we get to May 1st, and this is the emotional peak of the week because we have the full moon in Scorpio, which is activating your 12th house of the subconscious, healing, closure, and hidden patterns. This is deep. This is you letting go of something that has been weighing on you emotionally or energetically, something that may not even be fully visible, but that you feel on a really deep level. This is closure. This is healing, but you do have to be careful of emotional overwhelm or feeling disconnected or wanting to escape instead of process. You may feel like retreating, and that is okay, but this is not about avoidance. This is about internal solitude. This is your moment to clear space internally and energetically. Now, also on the same day, we have Venus in your seventh house, forming a sextile to Saturn in your fifth house of creativity, romance, and self expression. This is grounding your relationships in something real. This is you forming connections that are not just exciting, but sustainable. This is maturity in how you approach love, creativity, and expression. This is where things become more intentional, but you do have to be careful of fear of vulnerability, holding back emotionally to protect yourself. You need to trust that real connection requires openness. And then we get to May 2nd, and we have Mercury entering Taurus, and this is activating your sixth house of work, routine, and health. This is a shift into practicality. After a week of emotional clearing, this is where you begin to ground yourself in your daily life again. This is you organizing your routine, making practical decisions, and focusing on what you can control in a grounded, steady way. This is where you rebuild structure. But you do have to be careful of not overthinking, not getting caught in small details, or using productivity to avoid emotional processing. You need to balance both because your routine should support your healing, not replace it. Sagittarius, this week is about release, emotional truth, and realignment with what actually supports you. You are being asked to let go of what's been hidden, to reconnect with your foundation, and to build a life that feels as good as it looks. And that requires honesty because you cannot move forward fully if you're still carrying what needs to be released. This week isn't about doing more, it's about releasing what no longer fits.